Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Brock Lesnar might just be the hottest commodity of the last 5 years. Easily the name with the most buzz around him since CM Punk took his ball and walked out the door in the 2014 Royal Rumble, as just a few months later Brock Lesnar would ascend to new, unparalleled wrestling domination heights after breaking the streak and going on a run best described as WWE's perennial final boss. Here's the names that stepped up to either take that plate and run with it or have it broken over their backs via Brock Lesnar. I'm D Wicked from Watch WWE, and here's 5 wrestlers who beat Brock and 5 who could only try. Number 10, the Hardys. While Brock would eventually become the unbeatable, controversy-ridden deity high atop the mountain, he wasn't honestly that far off when he first debuted. If it weren't filled with so many classic moments and matches, it might be easy to forget Brock's first run, as it didn't even last a full 2 years on the main roster, but when he got going, he really jumped off the launch pad. Brock debuted to interrupt a match on SmackDown and immediately took aim for Jeff Hardy and subsequently his brother Matt, as the tag team would take on Lesnar in a handicap pay-per-view match only to face defeat. This domination over 2 men probably should have been a sign of what was to come from the man. Literally named the next big thing.
To save his brother Jeff. Twist of fate by Matt. The match is over. But Jeff Hardy delivered.
Number 9, John Cena. And then kicking things off for Brock Lesnar's second run with the company, this is probably the weakest stretch he ever had in wrestling. Before breaking the streak, Brock spent a couple years just kind of trying to find his place. He was still high up there. He was still Brock Lesnar, but he wasn't post-streak murder man Brock Lesnar. He lost a few key matches, one of which was unfortunately his very first match back. After Cena lost to The Rock at Wrestlemania, he called him out the next night to shake his hand out of respect for the victory, only for the Beast's music to hit instead. Lesnar would come out, F5 John, and continue in the weeks getting into bloody batterings that really hyped up Extreme Rules, while once again, unfortunately, Big Match John was booked to go over.
A matchup as punishing, as torturous, as grueling, as vicious as what we just witnessed here tonight.
Number 8, CM Punk. In a precursor to the fantastic matches Brock Lesnar has put on with Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan in later years, 2013 saw a rare example of exactly the match people did not know they wanted. While Brock's prior return, matches against the likes of John Cena were nothing too special inside the ring outside of a few key extreme spots, his match with Punk returned Lesnar to his actual technical in-ring ability and saw the pair put on one hell of a clinic, with many citing the SummerSlam Clash as one of their favorite matches this decade, one that, sad enough for me, Punk walked away with victoryless. Number 7, Triple H. Brock's return to the company in 2012 really was strange, because after being toppled by John Cena, Brock decided to target the game Triple H and went after Shawn Michaels, breaking his arm. This of course led to Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, and yeah, Brock lost this match too. Why? Why? Did Triple H really have anything to gain picking up a victory over a dude who had just come back a few months prior? Wouldn't Brock have gained a lot of comeback momentum after returning and then immediately losing to John Cena? I don't know. I'm not a booker. I don't do this for a living. So, maybe there's something I'm missing, but I'm pretty sure Triple H just likes winning matches.
Triple H with nowhere to go. Lesnar's gonna break his arm. He's gonna break his arm. Triple H tapped out.
Number 6, The Undertaker. I mean, come on. He broke the streak. He broke the streak. Let's have a moment of silence, actually, because now that we're about 5.5 years out from his instantly iconic moment, we can look back and say with absolute certainty that Brock Lesnar's defeat of The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 is still the single most shocking moment of the last 5 years, and honestly, I'd say the decade, maybe even since 2000. Maybe that's overzealous, but can you honestly show me something that was more important, unbelievable, and yet still culturally relevant now as it was at the time?
Brock Lesnar into the cover, hooks the leg, the streak is over.
And number 5, The Undertaker. Well, hey now, you don't pick up the most important win in, I think, any wrestling career in at least 20 years and just walk off scot-free. After breaking down the streak, Taker stayed quiet for a while. Actually, a long while. Actually, now that I think about it, The Undertaker pretty much went incognito for a year and a half besides a month bill just to crush Bray at WrestleMania, but we don't really talk about that. His first post-streak match wasn't the notable spot on his year, though, as Taker would attack Brock Lesnar in July of 2015 to set up SummerSlam, which wasn't only a far better match, but also saw The Undertaker take the W. Admittedly, sort of via kick. Number 4, Seth Rollins. While Brock Lesnar has probably put more damage into Seth Rollins' body than any other wrestler or even real fighter, anything, and more than any person on the planet, Seth somehow always managed to come back around and get his win over the Beast. WrestleMania this year has to be the match. As Paul Heyman came out at the start of the show to say that if we weren't main eventing, they weren't waiting around, a great little bit of character work, as well as good explanation for the rushed feeling of the match itself. It lasted a total, it was under 5 minutes long, it might have been as short as 2, and it really felt like Seth just caught Brock Lesnar, and just this time, had his number perfectly and was able to put him down very quickly for the Universal Championship. The reign that followed and the continuation of this feud, they weren't really it, but this moment right here in time was fantastic.
A third, a trifecta of stops, cover by Rollins, hook to the leg, Seth Rollins.
Number 3, Goldberg. Survivor Series 2016. I mean, whoa. After his last big matchup saw bloodied up Randy Orton via elbows, Brock walked into the next Big 4 pay-per-view with a returning warrior on his horizons. And you know what? If it wasn't for the streak being broken, this honestly might have been the most shocking moment of those last 5 years. Because even today, this match is just insane. After his most dominant year up until that point, crushing the Wyatt family, Dean Ambrose, and Randy Orton after having just beaten The Undertaker at the end of 2015, Brock was hoisted up off his pedestal and jackhammered straight through it in under a minute and a half.
Goldberg, look at the jackhammer! A jackhammer to Lesnar! Here's the cover! Oh my God!
And number 2, Goldberg, because just like before, you don't just return after 12 years, step into your first match, declaw the beast, and expect to walk away from it on your own 2 feet. Brock came back. He might have taken another L at the Royal Rumble, but that's okay, because Brock still came back, and while Brock was training for that comeback, Goldberg was busy snagging himself that Universal Championship, only for Brock to finally come back knocking and knock down Goldberg's hopes and dreams at WrestleMania 33. It might have been the start to one of the worst world title reigns in recent memory, but the launch point kinda kicked in. And why the hell not? Let's bring back the honorable mentions, because of all the lists we've done, this is the most open-ended. There's a lot more than just 5 wrestlers who have beaten Brock Lesnar. There's a hell of a lot more than just 5 wrestlers who have lost to him, and immediately off the top of my head, 2 names jump to mind that have lost to him in the last few years. First of all, AJ Styles. He was not mentioned earlier in the group of Daniel Bryans and Finn Balor's who have lost to Brock but put on absolute technical wrestling clinics. AJ Styles is the apex of that. He is the top of the line. He is the best when it comes to just getting a good match out of someone. He brought Jinder Mahal to a good wrestling match, and I think if that's not a clear-cut showing of his talents, then nothing truly is. AJ versus Brock is going to go down as one of the better matches of this decade, yet unfortunately, just like everyone in the small guy fights Brock category, AJ had to lose.
Interception! Get out of it! F5! Thunderous!
Second on that list is Kofi Kingston. Oh my God. Back in 2015, Kofi Kingston took on Brock Lesnar at Beast of the East back in Japan. It maybe went 3 to 5 minutes most. And then 4 years later, after 4 years of prep, after 4 years of experience, and after a WWE Championship ascension and reign for 6 months, Kofi dropped from lasting a couple minutes to lasting a couple seconds, dying to Brock Lesnar legitimately within 10 seconds. I have depression after that sentence.
Point available now, and Brock Lesnar quickly with Kofi Kingston, and an F5!
And number 1, Kurt Angle. Who better to end on than Brock Lesnar's easily greatest in-ring rival? Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar holds the claim of having 2 of the best matches to ever take place. One of them at WrestleMania 19, and the other literally is the best match to ever take place on a SmackDown. That classic Iron Man match. And in both matches, Brock Lesnar walked out the victor. Actually, I'm not sure if he could walk out after either match, seeing as WrestleMania gave him the concussion among concussions after that botched shooting star press, while the Iron Man match ended with Angle desperately trying to tap Brock out, leaving the Angle lock in until the very last possible second.
And it's over! Kurt Angle had Brock Lesnar exactly where he wanted him, with the ankle lock.
And those are 5 wrestlers who beat Brock Lesnar and 5 who lost. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. After liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications, ring that bell.